I stopped vlogging for a while and I kept telling myself it was because I was busy or tired or just didn't have the energy anymore. But if I'm being honest, I think the real reason was my life started feeling too ordinary to document, too quiet to be worth sharing. Every day began to blur into the next. Wake up, clean, rearrange things, move objects around like I was trying to rearrange how I felt inside. Honestly, I kept trying to create a sense of control in small, predictable ways, but somehow it still felt like something was missing, and none of it felt meaningful enough to film because these patterns were the same. They were repeated. It was the same routines, the same things that I did over and over again. There was nothing fresh, nothing aesthetically worthy, in my opinion. There was nothing dramatic, nothing exciting, nothing that's lovely for me to document. It was literally the fact that my routines were the same. It was a pattern, but it felt too boring to want to document and showcase the pattern. It was like, oh, this is the same thing I'm doing, filming, editing, uploading every single time. The same thing, the same space, the same visuals, the same routines. Everything just felt very similar, too plain to document. So instead, I watched other people's lives through screens that made everything look fuller than it probably was. Their days felt intentional, carefully put together, like every moment had a purpose. And mine just felt slow, quiet, if you ask me, almost invisible, too invisible. Their life felt like a very fresh pot of jollof rice, and mine was like plain white rice. But seriously, though, and I found myself constantly comparing, constantly asking myself, why aren't my vlogs like this? And if they're not like this, are they even worthy sharing? But little did I know, and did I also forget the old saying that comparison is a thief of joy. And so I stopped recording, not because there were no moments, but because I convinced myself they didn't matter, that they weren't interesting enough or beautiful enough to be seen. But today, I decided to step outside my room and I decided to record me stepping outside of my room. Not for anything special, by the way, not for an adventure, just to deliver something simple for my business. And for once, I didn't rush through it in the slightest. It just felt natural just to film those moments. I noticed the air against my skin, the quiet movement of people passing by, the rhythm of a world that keeps going even when you feel like you've been standing still. And for a moment, I didn't feel stuck anymore. I came back to my space. I felt this spark, this feeling. It felt, I didn't even know how to describe it, but it definitely felt good. And it felt like my life, although it was ordinary in my eyes, it's still very relatable. It's still what the average person went through. It's still what the average introvert would do. I made something small to eat, nothing fancy, nothing aesthetic, nothing you would usually think is worth posting. But it felt honest, unfiltered, real in a way I hadn't allowed myself to notice before. And I started thinking, maybe I've been measuring my life with the wrong standard. Maybe I've been comparing quiet moments to created ones and calling mine insignificance. But maybe not every day is meant to be exciting or cinematic or full of big visible progress. Maybe some days are just meant to be lived slowly, gently, without needing to prove anything.